Anyway, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty sexy, man.
That's
I'm
good.
doing all right. So, is my cam up on your thing?
Yeah, I got your cam up on my
Oh,
thing.
it is.
I
Okay.
could
All right.
actually
Well,
probably just put like the whole thing here. I could probably just pop it over here. I could probably
it's up
remove
to
this
you.
window here. Yeah,
So
we
I
got,
guess
and then I could
we
like
can
watch
flex
you,
each
and
other.
I can look at your chat. Let's see if anybody's being mean to me in my chat.
Oh
In
yeah, right.
your chat, make sure nobody's being rude to me because it makes me so
I know,
upset.
right? That would be very, very disappointing.
Yeah,
But
right.
I think everybody we have a lot of
I think we have overlap. Yeah.
Yeah, we share a lot of the same followers too. So
Yeah, so
kind of.
how was your conversation with Ryan? I caught like 30 seconds of it, and I feel like I got the gist of it.
It was actually really bad.
Yeah. I
Like
like, just for
probably
context, I like Ryan. Like, he's a good guy. Like, I'm
he
friends with
is.
Ryan. I'm friends with Ryan. He's a good, nice guy. But I figured you
Yeah.
guys had very different, like, large differences in opinion.
It was
Um,
yeah, it was extremely different. It wasn't even like it was very messy. Then again, that was the first time I've ever like had like a quote unquote debate with somebody,
right, yeah.
because I don't debate with anybody on this, but I feel like this is something I'm a lot more comfortable with.
Like a conversational type thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
enjoy it a lot more. I like taking like arguments in good faith, and like it gets very annoying when you start, like, I don't know. And I don't know how debatey your conversation was. Like, Ryan's usually like decent, but like there's some people who like debate, like they will intentionally lie to you just to force like a point, and that's like infuriating to me.
Oh yeah, that I would say that's probably where a lot of it went wrong, was me like bringing out points, and then he would just like dodge it, and then like talk about something else or bring up something else or completely disregard the point. So it was kind of sucky. Like it was decently frustrating. But like by the end of it, I just started trolling because
Oh, really?
I couldn't even handle it anymore, because it was just like I literally can't even bring out points. And then but he is a good guy. I mean, yeah, obviously, don't get me wrong. I think Ryan's cool, and I think he's hilarious as hell. I just think he's very ignorant when it comes to this. When it comes to this subject, mainly because like he doesn't have experience
Sure.
with dating. So like,
Mhm.
he's kind of like he's going out acting like he just knows all this shit. And it's like, no, you don't. It's not. It's not how it works, man.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, obviously, like experience with like just experience dating in general is going to be majorly beneficial here. So, but like really quick, so what's your perspective on the situation? Because I know generally it's about like whether you should get verbal consent or not. So, what's your rundown on your perspective?
So the main thing is obviously, it would be more of reading body language. I
Hmm.
mean, I've been on a lot of dates in my life,
Hmm.
and I've never, like, in the beginning stages. I think there was one. Okay, no, I think there was one time when I asked the girl to kiss me or whatever,
Hmm.
and I was like immediately friend zoned. Like it was like one of those like, she was like, "Oh my god, you're just so cute, like a little teddy bear,"
Hmm.
like, and then yeah, that was like the end of it for me. And then what like I've had a lot of discussions with women talking about this, how like guys would ask them for consent beforehand to like kiss
Hmm.
or to go farther than that, and then they would just immediately get turned off.
Sure.
So like for me, it's reading body language, and obviously, knowing when to make your move. And like when we're talking about making a move,
Hmm.
nobody's talking about doing like a rape kiss. Like just going in there, grabbing their head and just pulling them towards you, something that's just not consensual.
Hmm.
Or having you know, um, non-consensual sex, stuff like that, like forcing yourself onto somebody. It's just like slowly making a move, without having to ask. You just kind of like you slowly make a move, and then you read their body language, or it's simple shit, dude.
Hmm.
Like if they grab your arm or tell you no, then you don't do it.
Okay.
So that's my main point with the whole thing.
Sure, and I understand that, like, especially when it comes to like somebody who's more mature, especially in a matured relationship where they're with somebody, like you don't really need verbal consent. I mean, in fact, like with my partners, like obviously, if I was like, oh, can I do this? Like, they're gonna be like, why are you asking? You know, we know each other well enough. What I would ask is like, so outside of mature relationships, let's say somebody that's like our age. I'm assuming you're around 30. I don't know. I'm 30.
28.
28. Okay, so we're
well, everybody else says I'm 65 or 70.
Yeah, right.
So,
well, we're older and we're more mature, so we obviously have like a better handle on things. What percentage of men our age do you think are, let's say, empathetic enough or know how to read a woman well enough? So just give me like a random percent. It doesn't need to be. I don't have a counter statistic. It's just for like what percentage of man our age do you think actually knows how to properly read women?
Honestly, I don't really. That's really tough.
Yeah,
because it really depends on what you mean. Because like do you mean like knowing how to read a woman to where it's not like rape?
Like knowing how to read a woman, whether she like wants to get. Let's just start with kissing. Like, what percentage of man our age, like I do think is actually like has their finger on the dial with women, where they know. Like whether a woman actually wants to like a physical interaction to start.
I think a lot of guys can read the cues. I don't want to give a percentage because I really don't know. I can't even give one.
All right, yeah. So okay.
Go ahead.
No, it's like a random one. Like so, like let's even say it's 90% of men know how to like properly read. Then I'd ask you like, what percentage of the person who's never had sex before do you think knows how to read somebody's body language?
Oh, I mean, probably obviously, 0%. Probably not a lot of people, but I think it'd be a low percentage where they actually know how to like read body language and stuff. But then again, I feel like there's a very high percentage of men that know when a girl is like uncomfortable, or like when they turn their face. So like just with kissing and stuff, it is. I think every guy, a lot of guys, and definitely the high 90% will know when you're getting swerved.
Sure, I maybe, and would like let's even say it's 90%. That means that 10% don't know how to read those signals, right? So that means that like based on like this current situation, 10% of men would, and like this is something that happens a lot, could potentially unintentionally sexually assault a woman. And I know that sounds like a weird thing, but from like the experience that I've talked to a lot of women, and this happens a lot, is that there are situations like men are generally taught to be persistent, which I don't think is an inherently bad thing. I think that women generally like persistence, but women also like accurate persistence. But we don't teach men to be persistent, and a lot of times. And I've heard this scenario a lot. There will be an engagement with like a man and a woman, or boy and a girl mostly, because it's usually young people who don't really know how to read signals. But they'll engage, and one or two, like something will happen where it's like, okay, the girl doesn't want the interaction, but she submits out of fear, because men. I think that you would agree that men are physically superior to women, or that. There's situations where a woman will consent to, let's say, kissing or even sex, but they won't consent to the intensity of a particular sexual act. And I would make an argument that, like, by actively expressing like verbal consent, you're opening up the door for women to feel comfortable to say no. And like I think that there is an issue based on the power dynamic, the individual one-on-one power dynamic, where women can very easily feel like they don't have the ability to say no without getting hurt. And I think that and I also think that you can ask in a sexy way for consent. Like you don't have to pull out your your reading glasses and then like write down like a signed note that says like I want to get consent. But like you can lean into a girl, you can put your hand on her hip, and then you could ask her in like a sexy tone if it's all right if you kiss her. And then you've opened the door up for a woman to feel comfortable to say yes or no to a particular situation rather than feel like physically threatened.
Well, yeah, that too. I would say like if you are like if you're an idiot and obviously like let's be honest, dude. All right. People that are going to be not even trying to read body language and stuff like that, like they're not even going to be listening to this conversation. They wouldn't listen to it. They're just going to do it. They're gonna rape. Like rapists are just gonna do it.
Sure. Okay. They're not gonna to that point. Okay. So I understand exactly what you're saying, right? But when we talk about specifically people who like are predators, I think that we're almost polarizing the issue. We're making it so black and white, where we're looking at it as people who are predators versus not. I would argue that there's a decent amount of men who, and this is going to sound silly, but I'll elaborate, that unintentionally sexually assault women. I know it sounds very silly and crazy, but there are situations, and this is like very anecdotal, but like a lot of the women that I've actually been with, and maybe I just attract damaged women, but a lot of the women that I've been with, they share a very similar experience where they're in a situation with a man and they're very persistent and like they don't want it, but they do submit because they are like literally afraid for being like violently raped. And like, while I wouldn't say that that man is or that boy man is a rapist, they certainly did sexually assault this girl. And like, you could make the argument that the girl should be like, oh, I don't want this. And I think that we do need to teach young women to be like stronger and say, I don't want this. But we should also teach young men to open up a scenario for women to feel comfortable saying no. And that's where I'm focusing more on. I think that a lot of the times when there is like situations of sexual assault, it's not like active rapist versus like a non-rapist. I don't think that you're a rapist in any capacity. And I think you probably know how to read women, maybe even better than me. But we're talking about people who don't know anything. When you don't have, it's not easy to like read women when you've never like been with a woman before. And I don't think that it's easy. I don't think you really could possibly ever explain the nuanced way that women react, even men, anybody reacts body language wise to somebody who's never actually experienced it. And so for me, this comes down to like the basics, and you could equate it for something like, I don't know, painting I'm not a painter, but obviously, let's say when you're teaching somebody to paint, you're obviously going to teach them to put the fucking blue tape on there so that they don't get any paint splatter everywhere. But then if you're really good at painting, maybe you wouldn't need that tape there anymore. You're an expert, but you wouldn't start by teaching somebody to paint without the tape. And that's kind of where I come from. So teaching a generalized view of, hey, you can ask for verbal consent. And then as you get better at it, you can, of course, pull away from verbal consent once you learn how to read a woman. I think that that's the optimal way as a society for us to move forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's really going to work that way, because it's really just going to be you. Because I feel like the majority of women are going to, and this is based off my experiences with dating, but I feel like a lot of the women that want men to ask for consent, verbally ask for consent, a lot of them like don't go on dates. Because like women just don't, a lot of them do not want, they want a guy to just have the confidence to like go for it. But I think we're getting confused with like, with these guys that are like people are thinking that we're trying to, just do like these lightning fast kisses and sexual assaults and stuff like that. Where you are just giving a girl like a rape kiss. I feel like it doesn't really happen. Like it happens. Obviously guys are stupid. But I feel like their stupidity should not have to affect every other man. Because girls are gonna want the guy to be confident. I think we should be, instead of telling everybody to ask for consent, I feel like we should be showing and teaching men how to read body language, how to even at a young age, to be respectful. My mom has always taught me to be respectful, hold open doors for women, you're their shield, you gotta be a man, be respectful. Don't be a pushover. And be gentle with women. Okay. But as far as verbally asking, I feel like it's like, in a way, it's kind of cucky, and a lot of girls think the same thing, that it is pretty cucky to do that.
Well, I would say that first to the cucky point. I think that when it comes to asking consent, like your point that like generally let's say that like more feminine men are the ones that are typically asking for consent, right? I think that's what you mean more than anything else. There's a way for like a dominant man to ask for consent that's not going to come off in a way that would be like quote unquote cucky, right? I think that more has to do with the delivery rather than actual words used. What I would ask you though is, so how do you teach a young man who's never engaged on a date or had sex with a woman, how do you teach him to read body language?
Okay, so It would be more well, for one, like I've never really had a dad to teach me this stuff.
Mhm,
So I've had to like actually go off like just myself. Um, and I feel like teaching it wouldn't be that hard to teach them, just like if you feel like the moment's right, obviously, like if I had a talk with my son or something like that,
mhm,
I would tell them like, "Hey, like, if she's looking at you, maybe if she's looking back and forth, like at your lips and your eyes, she looks like she wants to kiss you, lean in. Don't do a lightning fast, grab the back of their head and like forcibly kiss them. Like just lean in for a kiss and either A, you're going to get denied and
mhm.
you're going to look like an idiot, or B, like she will also lean in and you guys will kiss, and then it'll be awesome. But we can't like we can't just expect that women like have this they're not capable enough to just say no.
Mhm.
Like it's really not hard for a girl to just like say no or just to turn their head.
Sure. So a couple things to that. What I would say is like, okay, so when you kind of describe like how would you to teach a young or your son how to like look for consent or like from a body language perspective, a lot of it was like, oh, just make it like just look to see if she's responding in a particular way. I really don't think that there's a way for you to explain the nuances of body language to somebody who's never engaged sexually with anybody. And so that does open us up to situations where somebody may unintentionally like sexually assault somebody. I know that's a bizarre concept, but it could very easily happen. And also to the point of women saying no, I agree 100%. I think as a society, we need to teach women to be stronger. I think that this goes outside of scenarios of sex. I think that like one of the reasons why women that are at the top of the food chain who make a lot of money may get paid less than men is because they don't advocate for themselves enough, right? And there's always like a situation where women don't advocate for themselves enough. They're not really taught to advocate for themselves. And so like absolutely I agree. Women should definitely be more assertive. We should teach young girls to be more assertive and saying no, but there's still that very there's still there's a fundamental power dynamic where men are, on average, in almost every situation, physically superior to women. Men are physically superior to women. And so when you put somebody in an individual instance of a man and a woman, and you say the woman should just say no, a lot of times, a lot of women, their first reaction is, if I say no, will this person hurt me? And there's nothing they can do to stop that. And by advocating for young men to give verbal consent, and it doesn't have to be a weird sexualized way or a weird like cringy way, you're opening up the door for women to feel more comfortable saying no to an unwanted advance. And it's not just for the kiss, it goes further than that, because like there's a lot of scenarios too where women will consent to sex and then a guy will take that sex too far. They might be too aggressive, they might hurt a girl at a certain point, and then we get to these other like more nuanced points of like, again, if we advocate for women to feel comfortable saying no, we're going to create like better atmospheres, just a better overall sexual atmospheres. And it's actually going to transcend even further, because there's also situations where like we know it's like a meme where women don't express themselves, and that's why women don't come in bed. And part of that's because women can be like afraid to express themselves to like hurt a man's like fragility or their in like internal fragility, so they don't even advocate for themselves in general.
Okay. So okay, I agree with you, but I also slightly disagree. I love where
Mhm.
your heart is on this. I think it's great. You got a very level mind on this.
Mm.
Now the thing is, I see plenty of women swerve guys. It
Sure.
happens all the time. Like I don't think that we need to just because of the girls that like can't, or somehow for some reason they're just like stunned or shocked when a guy comes in. I don't think that we need to be living our lives to cater to those people. Like it sounds shitty,
Well, what people
but
are we
like
catering
that's
to?
we're catering we're right now, I mean, based on your logic, we're catering to the girls that are shocked when they get stunned, and then when the guy leans in for a kiss or whatever, for some reason they just can't say no, and they lock lips with him, so
Mhm.
that way they don't get raped.
Do you
You
think
know,
that? Do you
or
think
so.
that? Do you think that's an unrealistic scenario that doesn't really happen too often?
I feel like it's well, no, I'm sure it happens. You know, I'm saying like I definitely believe that that does happen. I'm
Sure.
just saying that we can't really cater to that. You know, like we have to be able to go with what the majority of people want,
Hmm.
and obviously, you know, because we can't really change women's minds on what they think is sexy. I because I do not think that I really don't know. Like, yeah, sure, there's sexy ways of asking for consent, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's just for me, it's unnecessary. You know, you got to be able to, and you know, obviously, I don't want to go around in circles with this stuff,
No, no, no.
but like
I understand what you're saying because I know that we have two very different perspectives. Well, not very different. I would say that our perspectives are somewhat
similar.
similar. What I would
Yeah,
honestly, well, my because I agree with you that there are absolutely situations, especially with like older, more mature, more experienced men, where they don't need to expressly ask for consent. That's not my issue. I'm not contesting that more mature men and even more mature.
sure. We're
I'm not,
talking about like
we're
you know,
mostly talking about like
teenagers and stuff like
kids,
that.
or not even kids, people who aren't sexually experienced, right? Because like I would expect a mature, like a sexually mature man to say not expressly ask for consent, and I would expect a sexually and emotionally mature woman to not want consent and want a man who could read their body language. But we're more talking about like in the beginning stages here of like asking for consent. And I would say that the basics of asking for consent and opening up a place for women to feel comfortable makes the most sense. And then as you educate yourself from life experience, because there's no way, I really genuinely do not think that there's any way that you could ever educate a young man on how to read body language other than through experience. So since
I
that's the only way that you could do that, I would
Yeah.
say that like starting with asking for consent is the best way to move forward until that individual learns how to read body language, and then they could slowly change their method of dating.
I don't know, Papa Gut. Like I feel like it's very. I mean, a lot of it is just common sense with this stuff because, like, I
Hmm.
never had anybody teach me this stuff.
Sure.
Okay, I've always just had somebody like, you know, I've always like my mother would literally just like you know tell me to you know just be gentle.
Hmm.
That's all. That's all it really is. And you know, I never had somebody coach me. Okay, my first kiss was my sophomore year of high school. Okay. And we're in a movie theater, okay? And she looked at me, I looked at her, and you know, we just kind of like went in for a kiss. Like I went in, you know, she was kind of making it kind of obvious that she wanted me to kiss her, you
Hmm.
know? And so you know, we both made eye contact. I leaned in and then she leaned in and then we both just started kissing. You know, I
Sure.
think it's just teaching people, you know, because guys need to be able to have the confidence to just go in, even like, you know, even as teenagers and stuff, unless you're like a blatant idiot. But
Hmm.
the thing is, like, there's no point in getting people to ask for consent because it goes right back into, you know, rapists. Not, I don't know if we're allowed to say that word on Twitch, but I hope that they understand that
Hmm.
we're talking about in
It should
an
be okay.
educational
Yeah.
manner. Okay. Um, that rapist will never ask for consent. They're going to always just be disgusting people. You
Sure.
know, like we can't really be living our lives and, you know, making everything a trauma. You know, we have to work our ways around shit because people are, you know, traumatized by certain situations and whatnot. I think, you know, it is, like a lot of women find it to be, insecure and also
What's
they
that?
look at
Asking
it
for
as
consent?
not confident if you can't just go in for it. So I would just say we need to be teaching men at a young age to just be gentle with women and
Hmm.
also like you know don't force yourself. That's really it. Like I really think you can teach this stuff because a lot of it is just common knowledge. You literally just need to slowly, you know, slowly go in and be gentle. That's it.
Okay.
And then like that way you can allow her to you know, either swerve you or just say no. I feel like the only way they're going to be really uncomfortable is the conversation prior. Okay. Or if you're just walking up
What?
to a girl, like, and when I mean conversation prior, like if you're just naturally like an aggressive person, you know, I feel like you need to be, if you are like a big aggressive person, like you need to, you know, when it comes down to the kissing part, um,
Mhm.
I don't know, like you need to learn how to be sensual
Sure,
and
and I
fun.
agree with that, but like to the point, and like, we were talking about like how do you teach a young man? I don't think that saying well it's common sense is like is an accurate point of teaching. Like there's nothing like you really can't substantiate common sense in this capacity, right? I would
Yeah,
say
but
like
I'm also like I'm saying like
mhm,
with the common sense, you can also like teach on top of that. If they don't really understand that giving some girl a lightning fast kiss is wrong, cuz I feel like a lot of guys would know that a lightning fast kiss is it's not going to be okay. I don't think I've never seen a dude do that.
mhm.
But, then again, I'm not
Well,
there for
sure, but
every
we're not. But
single.
we're not talking about like lightning fast movements being like the only way to gauge whether somebody is being too aggressive. I mean, there's other ways to do it, and like I said, like common sense isn't like a gauge. You can be like, oh, it's common sense to not to like make sure you read a girl's body language, but we still can't sit here and actually like write a book on how to deal with how to actually read body language. And even if we did, how can somebody look at that and then pick up on the specific nuance interactions that some girls give? Right. That's the problem that we're having here is like I think that you're giving young people in general, but in this instance young men, too much credit for being emotionally intelligent, which they're generally not, right? Like, and I'm in a situation where when I was younger too, I wasn't emotionally intelligent. Have I ever like raped a girl? No, I haven't. I was also raised by like a single mother, and we could probably make an argument that the fact that we were raised by a single mother without like a male presence may have given us a better understanding of like women in general and like the sensitivity that women may need. But I still think that just as a general, I don't think that we really lose anything by teaching young men who are just starting in relationships to ask for some kind of consent. I don't think it's unsexy to be like to lean into a girl and ask for a kiss as long as it's not this super cringy situation. I really don't see it as like a net loss.
I mean, yeah, the only thing you'll be losing out on is the kiss.
But that's not. But I wouldn't necessarily. So I think that comes from like your experience of like you said before, like you asked the girl if you could kiss her, and then she rejected you. She friend zoned you.
Well, not even just that. It's not. Like yes, that situation as well, but also with all the conversations that I've had with women
Mm-hmm.
who, have like that have gone on dates with other guys,
Mm-hmm.
who, asked to kiss them and then it immediately turned them off.
Okay, sure. Well,
So
so
it's also.
so then we talk about again, like when we were talking about emotionally and like physically mature women being more for like more dominant men who actually know how to read women. What I'm specifically keeping this in the field of like young men and women who are not experienced at all, and that's where we come down to the point is like because you cannot teach a man how to read signals. Like you can teach you can give them general pointers and they can hold on to that, but that doesn't mean that you can outwardly 100% accurately teach a man or a young boy or young man to read signals without like actual experience in sexual
Yeah,
intercourse.
they're not gonna be able to learn, they're not gonna be able to learn everything. That does come with time. I absolutely agree with you on that.
Sure.
I think the main thing is just teaching them the basic stuff on how to not rape a girl. So,
Sure, but how do you?
like,
So how do you teach a man how to not rape a girl? And then what
just
it come? It comes to like, what's your definition of rape? Because it seems like your definition of rape is very, very, very much the standard interaction of like sexual assault or rape, where it's like very cut and dry that this is rape. But there's a lot of situations where rape isn't cut and dry, and men, based on being taught to be very aggressive and not asking for consent, set women up into situations where they not only don't feel comfortable to consent, but like they also are in situations where the man doesn't know or the young man doesn't know that they're actually sexually assaulting a girl. It happens, I think, more often than you think. I know both of our experiences are anecdotal, but just how you say that all the women you talk to, they like not getting like explicit consent and they want you to read their body language. I've had the same
right.
number of experiences of women saying that they were like raped because like a man took it too far.
Yes. Yeah, that does
Yeah.
happen.
But it's not. But
Obvious.
these aren't predator rapist men doing this. These are men who didn't like who weren't taught proper boundaries, and that's what I'm advocating for, like proper
Okay,
boundaries.
so like give me an example. Like are you talking about, and I don't know if this is the same example that Ryan brought up or whatever, but like are you talking about when a guy goes in and the girl isn't saying anything, she's just kind of like in like a shock, and she's just kind of like just doing it
Hmm.
so she doesn't quote unquote get hurt or whatever it is, or like is too afraid of what would be the outcome if she said no. Is that what you mean?
Sure. I don't know about the shock factor.
Okay.
Often, like, it depends on the woman that I've talked to. There's been situations where like a girl might consent to like engaging in like oral sexual acts, and the guy just puts it in, and like with non-consensually because he thought he read the signals right, but that's not what she wanted, and that would be considered rape. Consent to a consent to a particular stage of intercourse isn't consent to all intercourse. Or situations where a guy and a girl are by themselves in a room, and he starts getting like handsy with the girl, and then she feels like physically threatened. So she's not going to say no because she doesn't feel comfortable because she's physically inferior to the man. And there's this power dynamic here where like if you did actually ask for consent, you're opening up a situation to a woman feeling comfortable saying no.
Okay. So yes, that's true. Like if you are literally if you are jumping way past your barriers and not actually because for one, women are stimulated mentally. Okay, so like guys are a lot more physical, so girls find it very attractive when a guy is able to sexually arouse them mentally before they actually get physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, yes, that is a major problem if a guy is making out with a girl and then throws off his pants and like just gets really dominant with her and jams it in. Yeah, that's fucked up.
I think that when we talk about this, you're jumping to these very hyperbolic, intense situations, and you're not leaving room for like the nuances where like it's not always like that intense. Where it's like an instant, like boom, I know this is rape and not rape. There are these gray areas where people don't understand. Where due to the perception of the man, they might think that they're doing the correct thing, where a woman will feel like their boundaries are being crossed. But again, because of the physical power dynamic, a woman doesn't feel safe or comfortable actually expressing that they don't want to take it a step further. And this all centralizes around the one idea of like asking for consent, teaching young men who are not experienced to ask for consent until they get to the point of emotional maturity where they would understand like the actual body language. And that's where it comes down to.
No, definitely. You have to be able to you got to make sure that she is she's comfortable. I understand there's different levels of maturity and things like that. It's so tough because I feel like there is a okay, so what would be a example of asking for consent in a sexy way?
Okay, so like let's just say like your typical, let's say you have a girl against her car, let's just say, right? Like a nice smooth move. This is something I like to do. You have her against the car, right? This. And you have your hand on her waist, right? And sure. Like you go in for the kiss and you say, "Can I kiss you?" in like a sexy voice. We could do like, and I say, "Hey, can I kiss you?" And then she'll say yes or no, and then you go for it. And at that point, like there you go. That would be the sexy way, rather than to like sit there nervous. Because I don't think that the words used are the issue when it comes to sexiness as much as it is the like you had said before, the type of person who would generally ask for consent is like a little more cucky, right? That's the words that you used. But if you can ask for consent in a confident, sexy way, I think that there's no problem. It's more about like the men that like you said, the men that actually do ask for consent and not. I'm trying to teach stronger men to ask for consent because we'll say weaker men, not to be disparaging towards those men, but like more feminine men asking that, they're shit out of luck anyway. We're talking about like the stronger men and asking them, like teaching them to ask for consent and like in a sexy way.
I mean, I think it's completely fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm definitely not like advocating against it. You can ask.
Hold on one sec. Hold on a second. Hold on. My fucking stream, I think crashed and everybody's just like, oh, F. This happened.
Either that or they're trolling you.
Bro, it's my internet. I'm looking at it right now. It's like I have like a low connection. It happens all the fucking. Bro, it's my internet where I am. It's just out of control. I can't wait to move into my new living space.
Oh, really? Where are you moving?
I'm not moving too far, but
really? Where are you moving?
I think I'm back up. But okay. No. I'm not moving too far, but like I'm moving into my girlfriend's house. We just like renovated it, so my girlfriend, my fiance, and I are all gonna move in together. So
sweet.
We have like a nice 2-tier house. We just
Wait, did you
renovated.
say my girlfriend and my fiance?
Yeah, my girlfriend, my fiance, and myself. Yeah, we're all
Wait,
good.
okay, wait. Are you in a polygamous relationship?
I like to use the word polyamorous because I feel like polygamous is just a little dirty to me.
Okay, so you fancied it up a little bit, make it
Yeah,
sound
yeah,
more
yeah,
sexy.
yeah. But
Good
yeah,
looking.
so we just renovated our basement or the basement of my girlfriend's house. We're going to be like we're going to be taking it over and paying the rent, all that other bullshit. And I'm going to be able to get like some high speed internet. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay,
like
great.
next month we should be able to go into that. But I think my internet's good. Hopefully they didn't. I don't even remember what the fuck I had said before. Oh, like I'm just gonna recap it just in case it gets cut off in the stream when I like upload it to YouTube. But like I was saying before, it's more about teaching stronger men to ask for consent, whereas like more like we'll say more weaker men. I don't know if you want to say that, men who already struggle with like interacting with women. Like yeah, they're struggling to interact with women outside of asking for consent or not. Like it's not the
Mm.
consent that makes it unsexy. It's like the actual individual generally asking for consent aren't confident individuals. So I think there's a way to teach confident young men to ask for consent in a way that's sexy.
Sure. I mean, like I would say it could go either or,
Maybe.
honestly. Like you can ask. There's definitely nothing wrong with asking. And obviously, yeah, I have no problem with that. Like obviously, like people like me, I'm more seasoned with that stuff.
Sure, I
Obviously, I haven't.
100%. I don't think that you're a person who like is like sexually assaulting a girl. I think that you know
Yeah,
what you're doing and you're talking about. Sure.
yeah, definitely. Like it's more of like I think like girls like the mystery. So like when you ask, it kind of like it kind of kills it a little bit. But
The,
like even if you are asking in a sexy way, because now like you are instead of just doing it,
mm.
you're like telling them what you're gonna be doing, and I'm sure some girls appreciate that. That's fine. Um, but like I feel like a lot of girls appreciate the mystery a lot more. They like it better. It's more sexually arousing for them.
Well,
So like
yeah, right. And then that mystery, I think, is where we come to because I think I understand what you're saying. Like, so let's just say I don't know if you put a number like 90% of the time, even 95% of the time, women are totally comfortable with the general dynamic. But it comes to my point is like when those 5% of times where like you have a man who's unintentionally assaulting a woman because they're not setting comfortable boundaries and they're not giving a woman the ability to set that boundary, what do we truly lose by teaching both men and women that the consent should be like expressly asked for in the beginning, like when you're first starting to read somebody? Like we don't really lose anything other than like, oh, girls might think it's not sexy. It's like, okay, I know this sounds ridiculous, this might sound crazy, but you can teach women to find it sexy just as much as you can teach men to make that a prerequisite to engaging physically with a
mm,
woman.
I don't really know if you can teach a woman that it's sexy.
You don't think so?
No, I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch
I don't think
to
that's you
teach
don't
to
think
like.
you. I would say that most thing, and this now we're getting like super into it, but most things are like some
Mhm.
form of a societal construct. So if we teach a woman that like asking for consent can still be sexy, like you can absolutely do it. Can we teach women that are already matured? No, but we're talking about like people in the beginning stages, like of learning now. Like consent is, and I would say that we're actually generally doing that overall. But like that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about matured women to be like, hey, you know what's sexy for consent? Like, of course not. If you're like a 30-year-old woman and you're already sexually mature and physically mature, you're not going to give a shit about these teachings. But you can teach young men and young women to find asking consent sexy if you do it in the correct way.
I'm not saying that it's like I said before, some women find it sexy. Some women find it to be a turnoff. Um, in my case, I feel like most women find it to be a turnoff when you have to ask at all.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, like I said, there's no issue with it. I think it's fine to like to be sure, make sure she's okay with it. That's perfectly fine. Um, but ultimately, I feel like going that route will definitely get you denied a lot more.
Maybe. My
So
experience, I will generally ask for consent, and I haven't had any problems messing around with women.
That's fine.
Yeah, no.
That's great. And also you're in a
Well,
you're
clearly I'm doing something right if I can pull multiple women at the same time. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you
So
got a fiance and a girlfriend. That's what's
yeah,
up.
yeah. I just think at the end of the day, there is a way to teach, and it's a practice that needs to be taught by strong men. That strong men can ask for consent. That's what it comes down to. Because like I love Ryan, but Ryan's not like as like I'm a very masculine man. I would say that you're a very masculine man, and of course, messages that I think that I tend to agree with Ryan more than you. But like obviously, based on this conversation, we've had like a much more like say nuanced conversation about like it wasn't so black and white. But like obviously Ryan, as great of a guy as he is, isn't necessarily speaking from a point of like strength, right? Of like a more dominant male. So it's like harder for you to receive that message. But I really genuinely do feel that masculine, physically domineering men can ask for consent. And I would say that it is generally masculine, physically domineering men who are the ones that need to ask for consent, because those are the ones who are probably, those are generally going to be the ones that are overstepping their boundaries.
So basically you're just saying like the guys that are a lot more, I don't know, just manly men need to ask for consent over
Generally
everybody
speaking,
else.
yeah, I think that more than anything else, I think that
But
manly
like,
men,
okay, but the thing
dominating men,
is,
yeah.
I mean, when you're a woman, you're taking a chance. Okay.
Well, what does that? Hold on, before we get to what does that mean? Are you
okay? When you're no, and I'm not saying like when you're obviously it's risky, with any guy to when you take a man home, you're taking a risk because
sure?
it could be a rapist.
Sure.
You don't know. Like so, I'm talking about like girls that take guys home on one night stands and stuff. Like it's dangerous. Okay.
Sure.
So like that goes back to if you got a masculine man that is already has his intentions of just like sleeping with the girl
Mhm.
and not reading the not reading the signs, he's gonna go for it, and then that's gonna suck for the girl. Okay.
Sure.
So like we can't teach those people. I mean, we can try to teach those people. And then also, I know you're gonna bring it back to the unintentional part.
Yeah. Right.
We have to I would say see like that's the part where it gets really tricky.
Sure.
we need to try to pinpoint. It's hard to be able to exactly pinpoint my point on this whole thing.
Mhm.
If you're a masculine man and you start sleeping with the girl, and she this is so tough because I know rape like does happen and there's no like easy way to say this shit. But like,
Mhm.
if you're doing it, and the guy already has his intentions of like, just sleeping with this girl no matter what, then like the girl's screwed. A guy that doesn't have the intentions of like, a guy that has the intentions, a masculine man that has the intentions of like making the girl feel good and making sure it's consensual and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, he will stop when the girl says stop. So like I think it's going to be more of a teaching women to speak up more than men asking for consent, considering that a lot more women are, they just want the guy to go for it, not like ask in any way. Just go for it. And if they, if they say no, or if they seem uncomfortable, then you stop. If they say, if they say no, when they can't read the body language, then you need to stop.
Mhm.
Otherwise, this is rape.
Sure. Well,
So
I'm like I'm not gonna get like too into the point because I did like bring it up before,
yeah.
about how like what the hell was I about to say? Um, about before like making it comfortable for women to be able to say no. But I want to go back to like a different point that you had made, and like you had said, and I don't know if you meant to say it this way, but you had said that a man who has an intention to sleep with somebody, and you equated that to rape. I don't think that it is, and this is kind of the situation that we're like. This really brings it down to where we're kind of talking about, right? So if you're a man with the full intention to like sleep with a woman, and we do have like a greater hookup culture, so this is happening more and more, and you engage yourself in a situation with a woman,
Yeah.
that's where it gets tricky. It doesn't, just because a man may be more like may have the intentions to sleep with a woman doesn't mean that they are intending to rape somebody, but that means that they are going in with the intention of being like sexually aggressive. And that aggressiveness that comes with a kind of a guy that would do that is where it gets tricky on a situation where they can very easily engage with a woman sexually where the woman doesn't want it, but she's too afraid to speak up, because sexually dominant men are generally just dominant men in general, both physically and both emotionally. And that's where we get into these tricky situations where if we taught, especially like all men, but especially dominant physically and sexually dominant men, to ask for consent, you can do it in a sexy way. That's where we start to get rid of these situations where a girl gets sexually assaulted because she doesn't feel comfortable expressing, saying no. And that's where we're talking about more than anything else. And I think that the biggest thing to take away from, because I know that we pretty much kind of, I think, got most of our thing out here. But the last thing that I'll end off, and then you can like end off with your thing too, is I would say that in these situations, I think the biggest thing for anybody to take out of this whole thing, because I know that not everybody's going to agree with me, is understand that not all sexual assault and rape are black and white yeses or nos. And that's the biggest thing. I think that's the first step to, I think, understanding my perspective, is like not all these situations are so easy to determine. Obviously, you're not an advocate of sexual assault at all in any capacity, but I think that like there's instances where we could look and it's like, okay, there are these like gray areas where like something can very easily be considered sexual assault to the woman, but not to the man. And that female's perspective is just as, if not maybe more important when it comes to getting like in these situations. In these situations, that's how you end it off, because they're the ones that they're the ones that are engaging, and then they're ones that are physically inferior to men. And that's a very important power dynamic, is to understand that men are stronger than women. And this is like a power dynamic that happens. It's just like the reason why women are afraid to walk around at night in the dark, right? It's because women are just physically weaker.
Yeah, no, that's very true. So, no, I mean, I get your point. I think it's you make good points. But yeah, I know we're definitely gonna disagree on this stuff. I'm glad that we're both able to put our thought processes out there. But yeah, I feel that as a society, I mean, I don't know what Gen Z is gonna do in the future, but like as a society, I don't think that you know, we're not going to move into asking women. And I think like and I feel like it's mainly I feel like that would be mainly the woman's fault. And it's not their fault that it's their fault, okay? It's just that a lot of them don't find it sexy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's if women found it more sexy for a guy to ask them to kiss them beforehand, if we were somehow able to like disconnect some wires inside their brain and then like connect them somewhere else, and they found it more sexy, then I feel like a lot more guys would do it. Like they would, I mean, I would do it if I felt like more women found it more sexy when you asked them, for consent. Then yeah, I feel like a lot more guys would change their minds, but that's just not the way it is. I feel like it's not the way it's ever going to be. I think that women have to speak up. I know it's hard, but you have to speak up if you're not feeling comfortable. It doesn't matter how dominant this guy is, okay? Because either way, if this guy had his intentions to, have non-consensual sex with you, you're screwed, okay? But the least you can do is to say no, because then at least like, maybe hopefully he has like some kind of some kind of brain up there where he will stop. So like when you don't say no, what you're doing is you're taking a chance, or actually you're not even taking a chance, you're just like letting it happen. So that's where this whole thing kind of collides. It's very and also it goes back to even if you do ask for consent, it can be revoked at any second. Like while you're having sex, it can still get revoked. So that's why like to me it's still pointless to even ask, because I feel like if we have to ask for consent, and this also goes back to Ryan's point, it like helps you stay away from like a sexual assault charge. Personally, and I don't know how. Like, do you think that's true or no?
What do
That
you
it takes you away
mean?
from a. If you ask for consent,
I mean, yeah, it could definitely take you away from a sexual assault charge for sure. If making
okay,
like, so we can't just assume that every situation that a woman like revokes consent or like reports somebody is because they have dishonest intentions. Like, yeah, of course, like if you ask for consent before you sleep with somebody and you make sure you confirm consent, like you're going to reduce the amount of sexual assault charges or like just allegations being made against you, incorrect allegations, because it goes back to like the conversation about like interpretations from men and women in these situations, like where a woman would feel like it was sexual assault and a man may not.
Yeah, but you could still, even if you ask for consent, it doesn't even really mean anything
You don't
because
think
you can
so?
still because like you can still rape a girl even after you got consent.
Well, sure, but
You
I would
know?
argue that somebody who's actually actively asking for consent is not the kind of person who wants to rape somebody, and I think we both established that before. And
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do. We're not really trying to necessarily mitigate like actual. So in this situation, this isn't actually focused on trying to stop very clear rapists from raping. It's to stop men who think they're doing the right thing from unintentionally. And I would say like a couple things that you said.
Sure.
To the idea like of teaching women, you can teach women to believe that consent is sexy. I like I said, like a lot of things are societal constructs. Like not everything is like pure biologically. Like there are biological derivatives. Like obviously men generally tend to be more dominant, women more submissive. But that doesn't mean that women couldn't find consent sexy. But the bigger thing I would say is you had made a point before where you talked about in a situation of a man who like was already intentioned like to actually like, rape a woman, right? You had said like
wait, repeat that one more time. What did I say?
Back before you had brought up a point where like if a guy wants to rape a woman, like he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And so like you might as well just express your consent because like nothing's going to change anyway, right? If someone wants to rape you, they're going to rape you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this scenario specifically, I don't think that you're considering that we're talking. So somebody who's going to rape somebody, now we're actually having a conversation of rape versus violent rape. So if you say no, I don't want this to somebody that's perceived that as a rapist, a woman very instantly perceives it as like I'm going to get hurt if I say no, and that's what we're trying to mitigate as well. And like so to say like a woman should always have to say no, be able to say no, and not put any of the anything onto the man to create an environment where they'll feel comfortable saying no. I think that just kind of is like not like brought up contextually.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I feel like this. Yeah, I agree, but also disagree. Still, I mean, it's just gonna. I feel like it's just gonna keep going around.
Oh no, I just wanted to bring up to that. But like, no, I understand. Like, we don't have to keep going. But to that point, I think that a lot of women are very afraid to get like violently assaulted, and a lot of times they'll submit to assault, even if the man may not intend to be to assault.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's going to come down to, okay, this is the way I kind of have it like in my head. Okay, like if you're a woman that like has been raped or has had some like traumatic past experiences and stuff, I feel like if you are either one, I feel like you should be healing first and not going out on dates when you have problems, because of those past experiences. Or you should you have to be able to let that guy know ahead of time and just be like, hey, you don't specifically have to talk about it, hey, I got raped, but you can literally just be like, if you want a guy to ask to kiss, you can let that guy know ahead of time, be like, hey, like this is just the way I am, but like can you just if we do get to that point where we're about to kiss or whatever, just like ask me, like just
sure,
in case.
that's a way to go as well.
So like I would say like, women need to be able to speak up more. It can't always just be on the guy. And mainly because like a lot of women, they're going to have, they're going to want the guy to make the first move. So any girl that doesn't want the guy to do that, they have to be able to speak up beforehand, because guys in general are just not going to do it. Like
Mhm.
they're not. It's never going to change. It's
Well,
always
we
going to
could
be.
change it if we as a society like moved forward.
No, I strongly disagree with it. It's not.
Sure.
It's not going to. Like
Well,
I
it
really
could,
believe.
it could happen. I think my biggest issue though is that you're right. The last thing you said was very reactionary. So you had said that women who are sexually assaulted should like have to come forward and like not literally and be like, oh hey, I want you to like expressly ask for consent. But it kind that to me. It's bizarrely reactionary that one we would have to put it onto the woman to create a situation where she doesn't get raped again, and I also think that like not like everybody who's raped is raped for the first time. So like to suggest that they should wait until after they get raped and then express that they want consent seems a little bit of a bizarre take. It was just a weird way that you worded it because you put a lot of the emphasis on the woman, like kind of expressing to some extent that they were sexually assaulted and
Well,
like the remaining dynamics moving forward.
well, no, I wouldn't want the. Well, no, I mean, I did state that, like, the girl doesn't have to sit there, have to, openly say that she was raped or whatever. She could literally just, say like, "Hey, this is how I am." I would appreciate it, if this date or whatever that we're going on, it goes farther and we actually connect, just ask me, like if you want to kiss or whatever. And that's
Sure.
like, that'd be fine. That's called communication, and I feel like that's, we're in 2021 now. Women can speak up for themselves. Women are becoming more independent. They're not just like useless rags on the floor, and they never have been. But like we have, women are just more, they're more independent. We need to teach them to be able to speak up more,
Sure, I agree with that 100%.
and communicate. That's really all it is. Because like, and also, until that day happens where women's minds rewire and they want more consent, or not consent. When they want you to verbally ask them to kiss them or to sleep with them,
Hmm.
then we'll have a lot more guys doing it, because it really comes down to the women now, on changing. I don't think the guys are going to be able to change it. I think the women are going to have to change it. When a guy wants to come in, if they have more women like, denying them and saying, hey, like, I need you to ask, then guys are going to start changing their minds. Cause that's how I feel like I've changed, my shit was because of like getting, and a lot of other guys getting denied so many times for asking. And then like now you have to try to read a woman's body language,
Hmm.
which women are all about body language. They are all about like, and I know this, girls will not tell you, when something is wrong. You have to just know it. That's just how girls are installed. You
Sure.
have to
Well,
be able to
okay,
like.
but like we're making the sweeping generalization that biologically speaking, women are just it's a little bit bizarre because it seems like you're making the point that there's like a level of like just pure biology here where women want you to be dominant and they're like too afraid to express themselves. But then we also acknowledge that from like a social like perspective, women are becoming more dominant and independent. So very clearly, like you kind of have to pick one. Do you think that like some things are like biologically derivatives, right? Like there are some things like women may tend to be more submissive, but women are getting stronger overall due to like due to social standards changing. And you absolutely can create a social standard of like, yeah, women expressing whether they want something or not, which is definitely something that we need to happen. But you can also teach people or in general that consent can be sexy. Like these are we a lot of things are very much like societal standards, and I don't think that we lose very much by teaching both men and women that like expressly asking for consent is sexy. You would obviously start with younger generations though. You're not going to be able to re-educate older people who are already very sexually and physically and emotionally mature towards wanting a different thing, but we're talking more about like younger kids being taught something different.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
like I said before, I'm not going to advocate against it. Um, you know, I think it's yeah, if I tried to sit here and like make more points about it,
No, I think that we're rehashing at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, yeah, we can definitely agree to disagree on a lot of this stuff. And I think that you got a great art on it. obviously neither of us are rapists or anything like that. Obviously.
Well, I never said that I wasn't a rapist.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm just
Well,
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you
what
got
a good way to end that. What a good way to end that, huh?
Yeah, right. The whole conversation was just flawed from the
It's
get
like
go.
I'm just kidding. I'm just screwing. Well, what I'm really trying to do is get more beta males so that like I can sleep with more women. No, but I think we're kind of just going.
Actually, honestly, I feel like okay, like yes, I know you're joking, but I feel like on my end,
I'm very much joking. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, on my end, yeah, like if anything, that works for the guys that are able to read body language. They're just gonna have a higher success rate with women,
Oh,
while
for
everybody
sure.
else just gets cucked.
I mean,
So
sure. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but I think that really what it comes down to, it's more about being like a fit. Like most women want more dominant man. It's about being a dominant man, but like you can be a dominant man while being a little bit more like accurate with your consent. But I understand where we're both coming from. I think at this point we're just going in circles. I did. Yeah. So I don't know. Are you sticking around on Twitch in general? Or are you trying to make it like a platform for yourself?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna be I will be streaming almost daily. So yeah, this is gonna be one of my main platforms. I'm actually trying to. I would actually like to move everybody because I know TikTok's getting a lot more strict, and it's very difficult to be able to keep up with like the dark humor shit.
Yes, it is. So, it is not easy to get. Like I experienced that right at the beginning of like their monetization. Boom, that's when I really got hit hard, and like I took a dip in like views and like engagement and all that. And I've been really trying to get people over to I've been trying to help people get to this platform. So I don't know if you know this. I sent you like an invite. I have like a team on Twitch because I'm partnered on Twitch where it's all TikTokers. And like it's basically like a network. I don't know if you're watching my stream right now.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so basically, yeah, if you want to pop over and just take a quick look, I'm actually gonna change this since we.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm watching it right now. Oh, there I am.
Give me a second. I'm trying to fucking get my mic to go on. What the fuck? There we go. Okay. All right, so let me get this this off the screen. Let me get this over here. So if you go, so this is my stream if you're watching, and down here, there's like a team here, and if you click on it, it gives you a bunch of other TikTokers who are on here. So I invited you to this team if you want to join it.
Oh yeah. I know. Okay, yeah. It's the stream team stuff.
Yeah. And this is like how I'm using to try to get people to like be able to network better when it comes to like these getting over to Twitch, because I do think that it's like in the long run, I don't think TikTok's gonna die, but it's getting tough, especially for specific like types of content to be created. And a lot of people in general are just trying to get away from Twitch, and like that's kind of, so if you want to join that, be my guest.
I'll definitely join your team because I haven't. Yeah. I used to be partnered on my old account. That's actually where I'd started with social media was Twitch.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, my old account, it had like 100,000 followers on there. I was partnered.
Oh shit!
And then I dropped it. Got tired of it, and then now I'm just starting over again. So I'm very familiar with Twitch and how the stream teams work and stuff. Back in my day, when I started with Twitch, we couldn't get partnered at 75 average viewers. You had to get partnered at like 400 average.
Oh, did you? Yeah, see that.
Yeah, it was nuts. But like, so now it's like, it's disappointing now. Like everybody can get partnered. Although you would have qualified back then anyway with the viewership Maybe. That you get.
It depends. I don't think I have 400 average. I was doing really, really well. And then I hit this point of like, once Trump was removed, well, he lost, like the political demand for political content like dropped. I expected it to happen, so I'm not like super upset about it, but it like fucking tanked. I was like, oh shit, so my viewers dropped a little bit, which is fine, and I'm just like feeling myself out on which way to go with my content on Twitch. Like I'm still kind of like feeling it out on what direction I want to move towards.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very, with Twitch, it's very well, yeah, with TikTok, it is very difficult to be able to like, find some other content. I'm sure a lot of people have noticed that I've like kind of slowed down a little bit with my with my stuff, mainly because it is almost impossible to say anything at all. You can't really do any type of dark humor. And yeah, honestly, that's fine. Like I feel like if you're a dark humor creator, um, you know, and you literally can't make any other content, then I feel like that's an issue.
Yeah,
Like you
no,
got to be able to.
it's not super
You,
inviting for like the dark humor people anymore. Which maybe there's good and
yeah.
bads to it. It depends. I think my content certainly, I'm like I've switched more to like the social or commentary content on TikTok and I make some jokes. Like I make some like jokes, maybe a little bit edgy, but nothing too crazy. But like it's not really welcome on there anymore. They monetize the app. They have whatever advertisers in there, so they're trying to make everything more palatable. So like of course, you're not going to really be able to be that type of creator on there.
Yeah, it is it's getting very boring. I mean, honestly, I absolutely hate it. But honestly, Twitch is a great platform. This is probably the best platform for social media. Everybody is trying to move to Twitch, dude, because
Oh
it's like
yeah.
it's fun as hell. Dude. There's so much you can do with it. Talk shows, stuff like this,
Mhm.
gaming, all types of stuff you can do with Twitch, and it's developed into such a like massive thing now, where people are using it for podcasts and debating and
Oh
video games
yeah,
and
it's
cooking.
the most popular channels now aren't even video. Like the most popular category, we'll say, right, is like just chatting almost always. It's insane. Like they're really moving away from like video games specifically and getting, like you're saying, podcasts and conversational pieces and whatnot, and like political commentary.
I mean, well, I don't think they're moving away from video games. I think they're just more of like, they're just adding more onto it. So if anything, it's just like it's bringing everybody together, not just gamers. And it also invites people who are not really into gaming, um, you know, well, like they thought that they weren't into like watching video games and stuff until like they were brought in with these other channels, and then that maybe they'll give like video game watching a shot. I used to think
Right?
watching
Yeah.
video games was stupid until I started watching people play, and then it became really fun. I was like, oh, there's like a community of people in here.
Yeah,
We're all just
it depends on the
talking.
game too. It depends on because like I mean like I get terror when I play World of Warcraft. My fans hate it, but when I play like balloons and I get like views, it's actually very bizarre. Are you staying on Twitch for now? Are you doing something on Twitch? Or
Not
like
right.
immediately right now? Like yeah, I don't know if you're getting
Oh,
off now or not.
immediately. No, I got a lot of I got to clean up and do some other things. I'm going to be live. What? Jeez, I'm trying to think. What's today? Is today? Crap. What day is it today? It's Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna be live tonight. I'm gonna go live again tonight, probably with probably a horror game or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But why? What's up?
No. I was gonna wonder because I'm probably gonna be on for a couple more hours. If you wanted to keep talking, I would probably make it more casual. But if not, like I mean, like I don't know if you play something specific later. I'm probably gonna be on to play games tonight, depending on like what's going on, or I have to paint my new house too. But we'll see what the fuck I decide to do tonight. So if
What
you ever
what game are you playing tonight?
I have no idea. I'm open to whatever. I have like a ton of shit. If you want to play like a horror thing, I'm sure there's plenty of like co-op horror games. Like I play Phasmophobia. I don't know if you've ever played Phasmophobia
I
before.
did. Yeah, I suck. But like, do you know? Do you get the concept of the game?
Yeah, I'm like level 100 or something. I'm like really, I love that game. It's great. So I'll do something like that if you want. We could play with fans, or if like Nick Foster wants to play, or anybody else, we could totally do whatever.
Dude, that'd be legendary.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think
I
like
can.
networking is like the key, honestly, with Twitch to pull more people in.
Yeah, let's just have a fun. Let's do it. Let's play. Have you played Dead by Daylight?
I have it. Everybody keeps asking me to play. I'll play Dead by Daylight. Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll tell you what, dude. I will buy you a copy of the game.
No, I have it.
Oh, you do have it.
Yeah. No, I have it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you didn't have it. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to play? Do you want to play Dead by Daylight tonight?
Yeah, if I'm on, I'll definitely play Dead. I know a lot of my fans are gonna be happy because I like fucking always. I'm like, maybe another. It's fun. It's just not fun if you don't play with people. It's like one of those things.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do it, man.
Yeah, sounds good.
How about I don't know. Are you free at 9 p.m.?
I'll probably be on at 9 p.m. like EST, right? Yeah, I'll probably be on.
Okay, you guys got to make sure you encourage Papa Gut to do it because that game is so much fun, dude. Like I suck at the game, but it is an absolute blast. And I think we'd actually have a lot of fun if we did. I'll get Nick Foster on, me, you, Nick Foster, and we'll play. We'll play it, dude.
Yeah, sure.
We can maybe get one more person if we can.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, like I have a couple of people who like it. I think like Jay Leray plays. I don't know if she's gonna be on tonight. And then I have some fans who've. If we need to fill out the ranks, I have like a particular fan who's been killing me every day to play it. So I would obviously try to make room for them if we did, good. But yeah. I'm gonna send you my Discord. I'm gonna go pee. I know you're getting off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was great talking to you. I'm glad that it didn't get crazy at all.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think it. We're both pretty decently mature. I would say probably you more than me, but
I would say that like I wouldn't say the reason you guys had like a fight was because he was immature per se. Like it's so easy to get really agitated when people don't understand your perspective. And like that's what happens, and everybody gets agitated and irritated. And I've had like situations where I've had like my yelling. I've just tried to actively not be like intense. Like I try to hold myself to like a decent standard. Like not that you're not, but like this is like my thing, I guess. Like this is, and I've been doing it for a while, so like
it's like a Joe Rogan mentality.
Yeah, so like when I was first starting, it was like totally like I was trying my best to be like more level-headed, and like I had my moments, and I try to like actively be like more aware of myself. So it's not like I don't think it takes a while to fucking get into it.
Yes, and I mean, and I like the difference with my chat now than it was before. Everybody obviously respects your opinions.
I think Ryan and you probably have very different.
It was wild, dude. Like it was like a war zone up in here, man. It was like my chat versus his chat, and like everybody was fighting. There were like so many bans. People were like freaking out.
Was it that bad?
It was bad, dude.
Jesus.
Like really bad. I had people from my old stream that follow this one or whatever, and they were like, I haven't seen anything that toxic in my life.
That's
like
nuts.
on Twitch. It was so nuts, dude. And I was like, damn, bro.
That's fucking I didn't know it was that bad. I popped in for like a minute and I heard you guys talking and I was like, okay, like I get the general, I got the feel for it. Like it was a little aggressive, but I didn't know
it was a little bit too much. But it was funny though. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, man. So I guess tonight I will. I'll shoot you a message on Discord, and I'll try to make sure
I make myself available. I probably will be available, but like sometimes my day streams are like the more specific ones. But I should be on tonight because I'm home with my fiance and she loves playing video games anyway. So like she just plays video games. So like I end up streaming again on like these nights. But yeah, sure. I gotta pee. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you later tonight.
All right, man. That sounds good to me, dude.
Yeah, take care. It was a fun conversation. It's always fun to have these types of... It's always fun to engage in these types of conversations.
Yeah, no, it is. We'll definitely do some more. We'll do some more in the future if I ever want to fight with you or something.
Sure. That's fine with me. All right, man. Take care.
All right, man. We'll see you, dude.
Peace. I want to say thank you so much, guys, to all my Patreons, and a special shout out to my Papa XL Patreons. Without all you guys, I would just be some fat dude screaming into a microphone. So thank you so much, guys. Mwah. I love you all.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.